This program contains true stories of rescues. All of the 911 calls you will hear are real. Whenever possible, the actual people involved have helped us reconstruct the events as they happened. We begin on January 27th, 1991, as Wayne Mishap was driving through the peaceful countryside near his home in Nazareth, Pennsylvania. On this Sunday afternoon, Wayne had invited his friend Colleen Fry to join him for a ride in an antique carriage he had recently bought.
We have some beautiful trails and some beautiful roads in our area. It's away from traffic, aggravation. You get away from that when you're with horses.
Wayne had been training his horse Spider to pull a carriage for only a month. They turned off the highway onto a gravel road that led back toward Wayne's barn 4 miles away.
Spider was going along real fine. We were doing a nice road trot. What happened had nothing to do with Spider's attitude. It's a sight and flight animal, and they see everything as larger than life. We were coming to the edge of woods on my right-hand side. All of a sudden, there's a field and this bale of hay, and when I saw it, Spider started. So I'm assuming that he saw it basically at the same time I did.
Spider! Whoa! Spider!
I thought the carriage was going to go over. I jumped out. The electric fence was there. When he hit the fence, he out and out spooked. And when a horse spooks, they run. When he touched the fence again, that frightened him further. He must have gone through the fence 3 different times. Every time Spider went into the fence, he got even more out of control. Wayne was half out of the carriage. I was scared to death. I figured sooner or later he was going to fall. I heard the initial crash of them going through the woods, then I heard nothing.
When we continue.
No. All his clothing had been torn off of his body and was wrapped around his throat.
Wait. Oh my God.
All his clothing had been torn off of his body and was wrapped around his throat.
Oh my God. Wait.
I just ripped them off so he could breathe.
Oh my God. Easy, Spider. Don't move.
The foot was caught, but I could not get it out. He could not get air. He was having a very difficult time breathing. I also knew I could not unharness the horse myself in the state that the horse was in. And it was just a matter of time before Spider bolted, continued through this wooded area, and dragged Wayne to death.
David Cease and his family were out for a Sunday drive on a route they rarely ever traveled.
I thought perhaps that there was some kind of a gun accident or somebody with a gun after her.
What's wrong?
Help me.
What's wrong?
My partner's trapped and he can't get out.
Your partner, what?
There's a lot of hunters in those woods. So I was cautious because I had my family with me in the car.
He's in here.
When I first saw him, I thought that he was dead. He was gone. The scene was a mess.
What do you want me to do?
Hurry!
Let me get your arms.
He was just pleading for help that instant.
Easy, boy. Easy, boy. That's it. That's it, Spider. Easy.
And go back a little bit more.
Spider, easy.
All right, I got him
Easy,
free.
girl.
Some way we had to get this carriage off the top of this guy.
Move forward more.
Yeah, move forward more.
She got the horse moving somehow, and I tried to lift the wheel as much as I could.
Come on. Easy, girl. Lift.
I could see that he was in extreme pain, resting on his forearms because he said it felt better.
Girl. Easy. Easy, girl. Easy.
All right, buddy, just stay still. Stay still. Why don't you move here? Why are you gonna hurt yourself?
So I'm very cold, and I covered him up the best that I could.
Stay still.
I could see that the back of his head was ripped apart pretty bad.
Worried about her husband, Debbie Cease drove down the road to see what was happening.
Yeah, go get an ambulance.
She found a phone at the nearest house a mile down the road and called for help.
Control Center to Bushko Township Fire and Ambulance personnel respond. Horse-drawn carriage overturned, man pinned underneath.
Members of the Bushkill Township Volunteer Fire Company were paged, along with local police and medic units.
I want no sirens to be used in case the horse is still attached to that carriage.
First to arrive was EMT Richard Tobias, who happened to be on vacation in the area.
When I got down to the bottom, he was hunched over, but I didn't want to move him at all. I just wanted to leave him where he was until we could better ascertain what was wrong with him.
Can you tell me what day it is?
He was bleeding pretty badly from his head down to his waist that I could see.
All right.
Easy. Easy, boy. Easy.
The horse was getting pretty upset because a lot of people were coming and they were starting to shout. So I went back, slapped the horse on the side, and told it to go and pointed where I wanted it to go, and it just took off.
Within 10 minutes, an ambulance got to the scene.
Shoulder bothers you, your leg bothers you, your chest hurts, right?
I knew he took down several trees with his body because he was hanging out of the carriage when they hit the woods.
I had an IR breather set up, 15 liters.
EMT Jennifer Werkheiser helped package him for transport.
In order to immobilize him, we put him on a backboard in a standing position. That's when we first saw the depression on his right chest.
Okay, okay. Okay, John.
He was getting combative, and he was getting really anxious.
Get that thing out of here.
I'm just going to put it inside next to your face, okay?
A lot of people make the mistake of saying, oh, well, he's fighting with us because he doesn't want us to help him. But usually that's a signal for some serious underlying injury.
Wayne Shoup suffered a collapsed lung, 3 broken ribs, a cracked sternum, dislocated shoulder, and a multiple fractured leg. 3 months later, he's still in physical therapy, but he refuses to let it stop him from doing what he loves to do.
When that horse was running down the road at about 30 miles an hour, and I was holding on to the shafts in the rain, and my legs were pinned under, and the other one was in the wheel. The only chance of survival that I felt was put him in the woods. Otherwise, I'm gonna die.
Spider is still his favorite horse.
The happiest moment was when Wayne got out of his truck after he was out of the hospital and went back to the barn and said, "Hey, Spider, how you doing?"
And accidents happen. I will definitely get back in a carriage with Spider driving down the road. I have no fear of that. People ride horses, fall off, they get back on again and ride. So both the good Lord was on my side that day, but everybody that came to my rescue worked as a super fine crew and gave me the best medical attention that they could. I have to say that they saved my life, and thank you.
Next.
I was like, well, maybe we should, maybe we shouldn't. I didn't think anything like real serious would happen.
Monday, February 12th, 1990 was President's Day. For kids, it meant an extra chance to enjoy a day off from school. And that's exactly what a group of boys in Aurora, Illinois were doing at the home of one of their friends.
We were just having an average sleepover, basically partying down.
I do tend to stay at home with my children and be there for them and bake the cookies and do the room mother bit. But I've also learned that you can't be everywhere with your child. Once that child is out of diapers and they're going to school, you do have to let go somewhat.
Give me a hug and be good, okay?
Marcia Oliver left her youngest son, Fletcher, alone inside the house watching television, while 9-year-old Tristan and his 11-year-old brother, Leighton, played outside with their friends.
I'm going to the store. All right, stay off the garage.
Okay.
I waved goodbye in the car and told the children I'd be back in about 15 minutes. They're achievers in school. They make good grades. They're not troublemakers. Occasionally, we find one up a tree and we have to pull them down. But I wouldn't trade raising boys for anything in the world.
Hey, you guys! Got an idea! Follow me! There, like this. Get some logs!
What are you gonna do? What do you want?
Right about here.
One of the boys at the Olivers' house that day was 13-year-old Jim Morello.
Leighton decided to quit playing war and to start fires by his fort. Leighton's the kind of guy who likes to take risks. He does things that normally I wouldn't do, and I'm a lot bigger than him.
Tristan Oliver also went along with his older brother's plan.
Actually, I didn't think much of what was gonna happen. We just started putting those sticks, pine cones, leaves, all sorts of stuff. Leighton thought of the gasoline. So we're just gonna use a little bit, okay? Don't worry about it. Wait till I get back to you. We'll put it out.
Darling! Leighton was waving his arms, and I told him to drop on the ground. 3 weeks beforehand in home economics, I learned to put a fire blanket or any kind of covering over anybody who was on fire.
Jimmy smothered the flames on Leighton. And I just thought fire opposite water. Took him over to the faucet and turned the water on.
So I went inside and called 911.
Rescue units with the Aurora Fire Department were immediately dispatched to the scene. Paramedic Joe Bartholomew was among those who responded.
Children have a curiosity about fire. The problem with playing with gasoline is that they don't understand what's going to happen. The vapors spread out, and all that vapor will ignite. And there's no way that you could put that gas can down in time before it explodes.
His chest looked like wax, like he was a wax figure and someone just lit him in the middle of his body.
I just stayed with Layton, crying my eyes out and just worrying about him. I thought that Layton would die, for sure.
We heard Engine 7 go on the scene maybe a minute to 30 seconds prior to our arrival. They called back and said that definitely we have the kid and that we're going to need all the burn packs.
All right, we got an ambulance coming, easy.
Paramedic trainee Tony Nelson was assisting in the ambulance that day.
You could have heard him down the block. He probably still felt like he was on fire. This is the worst case I've ever seen. We couldn't start an IV on him because all the normal sites for us, they were compromised already from the burns.
He had a polyester sweatshirt on. It just keeps burning and it melts as it burns. It becomes a hard, crusty material. So you have to get it away from the body as quick as possible. And the hard problem is getting through it.
He wanted to know if he was gonna die. It wasn't my job to tell him that he wasn't gonna die, but I couldn't tell him anything else. I couldn't hold him. I couldn't hold his hands. I couldn't give him anything to grab because his hands hurt so bad. All I could do was just soak him down and tell him, if you feel like screaming, you go ahead and scream. He did. And he said some things a little boy shouldn't say, but in his situation and the pain that he was in, I would not hold it against him.
At Mercy Center Hospital, Layton was treated by a trauma team, including nurse Linda Hemmingson.
We really felt a tremendous sadness, that feeling that he was burned so severely that he probably wasn't going to make it.
As soon as Layton's mother got back to the house, she was rushed to the hospital.
Hi, sweetie, it's all right. No one's angry. It was just an accident. If my son saw me hysterical in there, he would know the extent of the damage. So I kept myself in control till I got out of the room. There was plenty of time to cry later, believe me.
While Layton was airlifted the 30 miles to the nearest burn unit at Loyola University Medical Center, his parents could not go with him and had to drive themselves.
I don't really remember a lot of the conversation because one or the other of us would start to cry and couldn't see to drive the car, so we'd pull over and whoever's not driving gets in and drives again.
He was my son. He couldn't die. He was my firstborn. I lost count of the amount of prayers I said, and very similar to saying, you know, please God, let me take some of his pain away from him.
Intubated number 6. He's got 2 liters of fluid on board.
I would ask them, what are the extent of the burns? They started at 40% full thickness burns and worked their way up to 65%. All Layton had left was muscle on his neck and shoulders.
Hi, it's Dr. Rao again.
Layton was placed in the intensive care unit and attached to a respirator. His family and friends began the tense wait to see if his body would be able to fight off infection.
His chest, both of his arms, and most of his face.
His mother does, she thought. But although she'd used the freshest frogs, the spell did not work.
I read to Layton constantly when I was in the room. To hear my voice, I thought might soothe him a little bit. It was difficult because the one thing I wanted to do was pick him up off the mattress and hold him, and I couldn't do that. I really shouldn't have been touching him, although I did sneak a kiss on his toes every so often.
Miraculously, Layton slowly recovered. He was transferred to Shriners Hospital in Cincinnati. There, he underwent a skin graft, and his life became a painful cycle of bandage changes and physical therapy. Before he could be released, his mother had to be trained to do the necessary daily therapy.
The thing that happens to a burn patient is they tend to contract downward. So you're always trying to extend their arms, extend their neck. He screamed just about straight through the exercises for about 4 or 5 months.
She just wouldn't let me quit, and she keeps me moving forward.
It's only been a year since Layton Oliver was burned.
He's a gutsy boy, he really is. To make his arms move again, get his fingers moving again, he didn't think he'd be able to write again. He's got his, I suppose, that little bit of arrogance back, which is good.
My dad helped me learn the meditation, and it relieved a lot of the pain. I do many sports as I can get my hands on. I wrestle with my brothers, for instance. I'm just about as good as I was before. It's my usual everyday moves.
I don't know the name of his friend, but that's a friend for life because he saved him. If he hadn't have thought about what he was taught when we do our school drills with the kids of stop, drop, and roll, I think he'd be dead.
A lot of people think I'm a hero, but I don't think I am because it was the first thing that went into my mind was to cover him with something.
Absolutely, he's a hero. I probably wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Jimmy.
If there's one thing I've learned, it's that gasoline should be locked up just like the chemical pesticides. Children think they're immortal, and it doesn't wear off until they have a really terrible scare.
I'm taking flying lessons. I will probably be a pilot for flying kids like me back and forth to the Shriners, volunteering.
I see Layton's future as extremely bright.
Step out of the car, please.